Hey guys, I'm back again. I know I've been gone for a bit, but I've been super busy. Um, so what I want to get into here, I don't really want to waste any time. To start off, when it comes to web security, we have to learn at least the baseline tools that we need to assess an application. We need to be able to understand how applications work, specifically web here. We also need to learn how the browser actually works. What are server responses? Well, they contain headers. What do those headers do? We'll get into that at some point, but that's not the topic for today. The topic for today is setting up your Burp Suite such that you are able to proxy traffic from an application. What does that mean? So the way it works is when you take a browser and you're entering in Facebook.com or X.com, the browser sends a request. First, it does a DNS request, right? Once it gets the IP of the appropriate server, it sends a request to that server with using a GET request. And a GET request is basically just saying, "Hey, I would like to use your website." It fetches those resources to so that you can actually use that website, and that website is loaded within your browser, within the window of the browser. And the makeup of the application is called the DOM, the Document Object Model. Um, so where does Burp Suite come into the fold here? Well, as long as you have Burp Suite configured to be proxy to be used as a proxy, you're able to capture requests on its way to basically the server. So it basically acts as a proxy. So instead of sending a request straight to Facebook.com server, it actually goes through Burp Suite, and then Burp Suite would send the request to Facebook.com using its TLS cert. So that's the way the communication kind of works together. It's a bit more complicated than that, but that's not the goal of this particular video. It's to get your Burp Suite set up. So Burp Suite would allow us to capture those requests and modify those requests. Why do we want to modify requests? Well, we want to modify requests because we want to look for entry points into an application that we could exploit that may have a weakness. Let's say that there's a name, or let's just say there's a date field within the application. I can use Burp to capture that request to submit the date. I can change the format of the date. I can change the data type of that parameter. I can change the length. I can change a lot of stuff about that particular parameter, and I would forward that to the backend server. And based on how it processes that unexpected user supplied information or data or payload, it may throw an error, and this error may give me some type of inclination of what type of server they're using on the back end. You can do a lot with Burp, but that's just an example. But I'll show you here in a second. So to start off, we want to go to portswigger.net so that you can actually download the proxy. So we want to go up here to products. We want to go to Burp Community Edition. The reason why we want to do the Community Edition instead of the Professional Edition is that the Professional Edition requires a license. That license is $399. Yeah. So if you're serious at some point about really getting into web security, being a web application penetration tester, or even a application security engineer, um, then maybe you take that step and you purchase that license so that you can use additional features of Burp Suite. So instead of putting in your email here, I don't like to give out my email. Go straight to downloads. Here you want to make sure that you selected the Community Edition. Here you want to ensure that you select the appropriate operating system for your laptop. So I actually have a Mac OS and mine is Apple Silicon. entails. So I'll go ahead and download that. While that's downloading, what you guys should do is download a tool called Foxy Proxy. So just go to Google, just like this. Type in Foxy Proxy, and I would suggest that you guys actually use Firefox because it's the better browser to actually perform pen testing in. Yep, so you want to find the Foxy Proxy Firefox add-on. Click that add-on. Here you'll see installed. You want to install it. Also, it's going to provide you an additional pop-up here that's basically going to ask whether you would like the private windows to also be able to use Foxy Proxy. And you want to say yes. You want to enable that and click save. So mine is actually already installed here. So it looks like my Burp Suite is actually finished downloading. So what you want to do now is you want to open that Burp Suite. Burp Suite. Sweep, Jesus. You want to drag that over into your applications folder. Okay. In the meantime, we want to make sure that you have the Foxy Proxy installed, and you want to make sure that we actually set up our Foxy Proxy appropriately. So let's just open the actual Burp Suite Community Edition application. Yes. So the first screen you're going to see here, it's going to say the only options you're going to have is the temporary project in memory. So Community Edition is a bit limited. It doesn't allow you to save projects. So it may be an issue if you want to go back and look at projects and look at requests because you're just not allowed to in the Burp Suite Community Edition. But you want to hit Next, Start Burp. So this is your main interface here with Burp. You have your dashboard and you have your target. Later, we will start getting into intruder, repeater, collaborator, sequencer, decoder, and many more plugins or add-ons here that we can use to help us test a web application's security. So we want to go to target here first. We want to come over to scope details. Sorry, actually, we want to go to proxy, and we want to go to proxy settings. So we want to make sure that this particular interface is set to localhost or 127.0.0.1, and we want it to be listening on port 80 and ensure that loopback only is selected. Once that's selected, we can exit out of that. We want to go back to our Foxy Proxy extension. We want to click on that extension, and we want to go to options. We want to go to proxy, and we actually want to add a proxy. So I actually already have one created, but I'll create one with you guys. So we want to go to add. Let's give it a title. Let's give it Burp Community Edition. The host name. So we want to set the host name to the exact same address that we had the Burp Suite's interface set to, which was the localhost. 127.0.0.1. And what was the port that Burp was listening on? Port 8080. Okay. It could actually be on any. So you can choose whatever ports you want, but by default, Burp is on 8080, so I like to just stay with 8080. Okay, once that's set up, there's really nothing else you have to do here. You can just save it. It'll do its thing. It'll set that up. Want to exit from here. And now you want to click on Burp and you want to enable this extension to use the Burp Community Edition. So click Burp Community Edition. You see that the toggle changed here, which means that it's basically enabled. Next, what you want to do. So in order for your browser to allow the traffic to be proxied, but also for Burp to serve requests to the backend server, there has to be some type of connection between Burp Suite and the server. So there needs to be a TLS certificate installed on your browser. So what we want to do is we want to go up here to the search bar. We want to type in HTTP Burp. Okay, so this will basically bring you to the area of Burp that would allow you to download the CA certificate here to the top right. So we download that particular certificate. Once it's finished downloading, you want to go to Settings. You want to type in certificate here in the search bar. You want to go to View Certificates, down to Import, and you want to import this particular certificate. I've already imported it, so I don't really have to do it anymore, but that's the way you import it. You'll have another toggle or prompt that actually come up, and you want to check both of those boxes and then finish your install. Okay, so we can get rid of these. And that's another thing. So the way that you actually know that Burp is proxying appropriately is that it's easy just to try http://burp. If you get this particular screen, you know that Burp is actually proxying correctly. Everything is set up. The interface for on Burp, as well as the configuration for your Foxy proxy plugin. So if we go back to Burp Suite, well, first, I want to use GShop as an example for you guys of proxying traffic. What does an actual HTTP request look like? So if we go back to the Burp application, let's gather it here. If we go to HTTP history, well, we see a lot of items here with different hosts. So what are these? So this is basically every request that has been sent since each proxy or each part of the browser's Foxy proxy plugin and Burp has been configured to actually work together. So every request that we've sent since then, you will see here. So GShop was just on GShop. You see that the host is GShop, the method, in order to say, hey, server, I would like to use your application. That will require a GET request because we're fetching resources. We'll get into HTTP in another video, but again, this is mostly just setting up Burp. This particular target tab. So this is the tab where you're able to look more into the application from a more detailed level. So if we go to GShop here, as we see, we click this drop down, you'd see that the folders under here is basically a directory. What does that mean? So within a server, the server has a file system, and where the application is being run, it's called its root directory, which is basically, for example, here it is jushop.herokuapp.com/. That'll be the root directory. Up under that root directory, there will be additional directories that host different files, whether it's JavaScript, Java, Node, right? There could be a lot of things here, images, other resources required for the application, but this is what those directories would look like. They'll fall into here. So just as an example, let's just start clicking on some random stuff so that we can send requests. And the great thing about Burp is that every request that is sent or used to show what you see or display what you see in the browser, it's all captured by Burp and it's organized based on its directories. So here we're back under GShop. Now we see an API directory. So this is an application interface, which basically it's another way of talking to a backend server, right? So you have HTTP requests, you have APIs, you have RESTful APIs. They're a bit different, and I'll go over that in another video as well. But really here, I just wanted to show you what you can actually use the target tab for. Proxying tab, again, it's the CR requests that can be used, right? If you want to say, hey, I wonder what the request looks like for me to get an image from GShop. Well, you can find here that part of the URL path of this request is an SVG. That's an image. So we could, let's expand this here. You see the server response here. Well, it has application error, and then all those are 503s. So let's see if there's any 200s. No, actually, it doesn't look like it. Maybe that's Burp just doing its crawling for the time being. Okay, yes, I think that's probably it. So, yeah, this is really just your basic introduction into installing Burp Suite. Um, Next, we'll get more into what is a request, an HTTP request. What does it look like? What does it consist of? How is it formatted? How are how is HTTP used to fetch different application resources? How is HTTP used to modify or create new application resources or even delete them? That's when we'll start talking about RESTful APIs. There'll be a bit of a different HTTP methods there, but that's it for this particular video. Hopefully you guys are able to set this up based on the video. If you're not, please reach out to me, ping me. I don't mind helping you get this set up because it will be essential into you learning how an application actually interacts with backend web servers and also cloud services. Yeah, so hopefully you guys found it useful, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.